of the Rivers State Police Command since he took over the affairs, since he took control of the command. And we can dare say, since the last time we had a conversation, that there's some positive things that have been done, some positives that have been achieved by the River State Police Command since he took over the control of the command, I think sometime last week. I remember we talked about his coming to this state, his deployment to this state last week, and we asked that would he be able to match his words with action. Remember, he talked stuff. He said he was going to rid the state of crime and criminality. He also told his police officers that they should follow the rules of engagement. And I'll play what he said all over again so we can remember. However, why am I talking about the police commissioner today? Why? In our bulletin, Rivers Today, there is this story that caught my attention, and I'd like to bring it to your notice. So the story, the story is about a journalist who claims, and I have to use the word claim now because I was not there, who claims that the police forced him, the police threatened to shoot him. He was asked at gunpoint to lure a suspect so that the police can arrest the suspect. Now, according to the story that I did see online, the journalist said he was accosted by some police officers who used a lady to get to him, and they threatened to shoot him if he did not put the call through to the person that they were looking for. And as seen in our 3 o'clock bulletin, a human rights lawyer, Ekine, says there is no violation of fundamental rights if the police compels a citizen to assist them in the arrest of a wanted person. Mr. Ekine said this in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to a complaint by journalists who alleged that his life is at risk after being used by operatives of the State Criminal Investigative Department to arrest an indigene of Roma Olu community in Obiakpo local government area, Kingsley Woko, yesterday. All right, so as I was reading, he said citizens, that's Ekine now, said citizens are compelled by law to assist the police to prevent crime as well as arrest criminal suspects. He explained that a citizen's right is said to be violated if the police forced, torture or intimidate the citizen in carrying out such civic responsibility. Now, also, reacting to this, the Secretary of NUJ in Rivers State, Ike Wigodo, said the commissioner of the police monitoring team, told him this morning that Mr. Olu, that's the journalist, was a soft target based on information gotten from a tracker device used to track the suspect. He said the commander also told him that Mr. Olu was not harassed or intimidated by the police, and that as soon as the suspect was arrested, Mr. Olu was released. Two sides to the story now. I've told you what I did see online, and I've told you what the journalist said happened, and now the police is saying, see, we did not harass him, we did not intimidate him. It was just a soft target, and that's why I have invited Henry Ekine on the show. Is the National Legal Advisor, the Committee for I keep forgetting this thing now. Can you help me now, Ekine? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Welcome on the show.
Thank you, Kalada, for having me.
All right, now. So I was just reading out what the police said about the incident. And first, I told the story from the journalist perspective, or from what the journalist said. And the police responded by saying they did not harass or intimidate, and that the journalist was just a soft target. Can we start with that? What is the definition of a soft target from a human rights angle or from a legal angle? What do you mean by soft targets?
I think that is that's a constructed expression that only the police would be able to explain, because I do not think that there is any interpretation section of any law that will attempt to explain what a soft target is in this regard. However, let me suppose that a soft target could imply a situation where there are suspected persons or persons that are targeted by a state agent, let's say the police in this instance, but the purpose may be such that it is not directly linked to the crime or is not directly culpable in that alleged commission of a crime, but may be a link to get to some suspected offender of the law.
All right.
But otherwise, the best person to explain what that actually means would have been the police. But let me assume that this is what the police intends. Having said that, what then or how should the police treat a soft target, in quotes, if any citizen or any person in that regard is considered a soft target? Should that person be denied his liberty at any moment? Should that person be made to suffer any mischief at all, in any guise, in any way? Should that person be made or constrained to lose any dignity of the human person in any way? Those are the fundamental questions that would arise and justify whether that person remains a soft target or was a purported soft target but was actually made a suspect. So it's a question of fact and the real circumstance in every particular situation or incident that will determine whether that person remained a soft target or the person was actually made a suspect of a crime. But in this guise, the police is saying it's a soft target.
All right. So from what yet again the police said that they did not arrest him. They just wanted to use him to get to the suspect. And they did not harass him, they did not intimidate him. However, the story is different from the journalist's angle. And so now I was reading, because you were in our news, and you said that a citizen can be of assistance to the police. Can you tell us how it works? In such a situation where the police needs my help to get to a suspect, how is the police supposed to approach me, to get that done?
Excellent. That's even the point that makes the difference. Now, let us take it from the constitutional civic responsibility of every person or authority is expected under our Constitution, particularly Section 13, to observe and uphold the provisions of the Constitution, including ensuring that no other person violates the provision of the Constitution. The same way to any law. Responsible citizens in any society have civic responsibility to ensure that citizens obey the law, do not infringe the law, and by extension, citizens have civic responsibility to assist the state, that is state agents, in ensuring that there is law and order. It is to that extent that citizens have the responsibility to assist the police in carrying out legitimate duty, not illegitimate duty, because you cannot say you have a responsibility.
Hello. Hello? I can get down. this.
Nigeria Info.
All right, it's 29 minutes to the top of the hour. I've got Ekine, who is the National Legal Advisor for the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. I got it finally, I did. And we're talking about human rights issues. A journalist saying that the police, at gunpoint, asked him to lure a suspect into the police custody. Now, sometime last week, we brought you a news report where the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Emeka Wanyi, was declaring a total war on violent crimes. He also said that the police under his watch would ensure respect for human rights. I would bring that soundbite to you shortly, but let's get back to our guest, Ekine. Ekine, good evening to you once again.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having me again.
All right, so you were explaining before we had the network issue, and then we had to go for that long break. You were trying to explain if the police can ask for my assistance to catch a criminal or a suspect.
Yes. The state has a responsibility to ensure that there is law and order, and then that includes also citizens within the state. So state agents, that arresting authorities, can work together with citizens, but our listeners should be very circumspect in this. One, yes, state agents can work together with citizens. In this regard, citizens can, in civic responsibility and obligation, support state agents by giving information voluntarily. Voluntarily is used deliberately, and also by assisting state agents in getting at criminal suspects, including leading to their arrest, including providing evidence for their prosecution. All of these are to be done in sane, humane, and legal, lawful manner. It's important emphasizing this. But a situation where it's otherwise, where the state agent, in the purport of extracting information from a citizen or any person by coercion or by force, by intimidation or by misrepresentation, or by threat of arrest or detention, or by threat of prosecution, all of these circumstances would have turned the situation from a legitimate, legal, constitutional, lawful civic responsibility of citizens to assist the police to another one of criminal conduct by the police, which is in contravention of the Anti-Torture Act, because the Anti-Torture Act is clear in terms of torture, expanding the scope and definition of torture. and also criminalizing that behavior. That will include harassment, intimidation, coercion, maybe misrepresentation or threat of arrest. If the police says to you, if you do not lead us to this person, we will detain you. It's a threat of detention, threat of arrest. That in itself is torture by the expanded definition of torture in the Anti-Torture Act. Then beyond that, if the treatment, the treatment is not humane, then it's a violation of the fundamental right to human dignity of that individual. Now, in any way that an arresting authority extracts information or assistance and support from any citizen by way of coercion, as we hear allegedly, by probably showing you the gun, threatening you with arrest, threatening you with detention, threatening you with any form of coercion, then it is no longer that reasonable, responsible, constitutional, and lawful exercise of the civic duty or responsibility to assist the police. It becomes a situation of intimidation, harassment, or torture. Let us take the other situation. Okay. Sorry. If you're also taken in custody, even if it's a minute, in a minute, then it amounts to arresting that person for the purpose of extracting information or assistance to lead to the arrest of another. Then it amounts to arresting in person in lieu of another, or the prohibited arrest in proxy.
All right. Now, I have a question now. So you've said it is the right of a citizen to assist the police to apprehend a criminal or a suspect, but it must be done.
It's a duty of a citizen.
A duty, rather, but it should be done willingly. That if it's done with force, then it is a criminal activity. So what if now the police approaches me and I say, you know what, I don't think I want to dabble into this. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm sorry, but I feel like it's not going to be safe for me to partake in this. Have I wronged any law? Have I, committed any crime? Am I aiding and abetting?
The line is slim here. And let me say why I said that. Now, refusal to assist legitimately, to assist the police from arresting an individual is an offense. It's a misdemeanor. Refusal. Now, that refusal must be without justification or reasonable justification. It is excellent, the scenario that you painted. Now, a citizen has a primary responsibility to himself first about the protection of his right. And that's why in the CDHR we say, my right is my right is my right. It's emphatic. So I have a primary responsibility to defend my right, to protect my right, and stand by my right. So if in the request to assist the police, my life is threatened, palpably so, then I have a justifiable ground to tell the police, no, listen, it is not a situation of refusal, but it is one of not being in a position to safely assist you. My life is in danger, and that of my family, with palpable imminent threats. So I cannot give you this assistance. See, that the state requires the citizen to assist the police. It does not then transfer the responsibility of the police, the professional duty of the police, to investigate criminal suspects to the citizen who does not have that training. So if for any reason you cannot get that assistance or support from a citizen, justifiably, not on reasonable refusal, then the police should return to that primary responsibility of the training and professionalism to detect, investigate, inquire into that criminal suspicion of that person and go after the criminal suspect. It is not the absolute responsibility of Henry Ekine, for instance, to lead the police to where my life will be at danger because I have a duty and obligation to assist the police. So this line is slim, but it exists. Now let's take a clear scenario where if indeed in going with the police to a place, they are probably kitted, they have the firearms to protect themselves, and then I am exposed to danger, but because I need to assist the police to a place, I will tell them, hold on, I can't take this step. But again, there may be a reasonable extent to which I can assist you. Maybe I can give you certain information. I can give you certain inkling, but I may not go beyond that point. It is not refusal. And all of these also depend on how you communicate with the citizen, how you respect the dignity of the citizen. I created a scenario when I was speaking with your correspondent. The situation is this. If the police feels that some individual has been in constant communication with a criminal suspect, okay? And then in trying to track that criminal suspect on your investigation, and then you found that he usually is in maybe continuous communication with this person. And in your investigation too, you found out that this person, according to the police, is soft target. He has committed no offense. He has no criminal liability or culpability in any way, simply because he has a connection with this person. If you go to that individual, why not invite him or go to him and see that then the secret agents used to do it. The one we call the CID. They could even disguise and come with you and then discuss with you, appeal to you. They must even let you understand that you have no criminal liability or suspicion whatsoever. And that what you're doing, right, is just your civic responsibility. They should even assure you of your protection. If possible, even making sure that it's discreet, that what you're doing is not going to be let out to that criminal suspect. Now, if they fail to do all of this, but you cock a gun, like a colleague of mine, or rather a friend of mine in the media as well, a journalist, the other day around the NTA, around AIT, NTA Ozoba Road, he was attacked. In fact, he was publicly attacked by armed policemen. He didn't even know they were policemen. They were in plain clothes. They attacked him, waylaid him. At gunpoint, they bruised him to the floor, to the ground, and took him. Only for the reason that they were looking for someone and he used to be in constant communication with that person. So when I appeared on their TV and he was telling me this story, I said, in your own case, there was violation of your right to the dignity of the human person. There was a criminal conduct of those policemen by contravention of the Anti-Torture Act. And again, they had arrested you. That's why I said I was going to even mention arrest. They had taken him into custody, even if it was into their vehicle. They have restricted him and denied him of his liberty, right? And whatever they got of him was not by his own submission. Then they drove him off. Even at that time, he didn't even know where they were taking him to and who they were. So there had been that arrest, a Gestapo kind of arrest. And then it was later, even in their custody, in their station, in their custody, until colleagues at his workplace had gone there before they were telling him that, look, you know this person, and presented. He said, look, what is that? Why you? So that is different from what is expected that the police would do. That's the situation.
Because of time, you have painted you have told a story that is similar to the story that we are talking about. Police, carries someone into the vehicle in search of another person who is supposedly a suspect, and then the person comes out to tell his story. Oh, I was beaten, I was cajoled, I was forced, I was asked at gunpoint. And then the police comes out with a statement saying something similar, but not giving the full details. For instance, we've heard the police say they did not harass and they did not intimidate. They only, asked him to help them because they have been looking for this suspect for a very long time. The question in my head now is, how does someone who has been violated in the scenario where the person is beaten, arrested, like you've explained, how does that person fight for his rights? Because when you get to the police will tell you we did no such thing. Remember, there is no evidence to that effect. It's just you telling your story and what you experience. How does one fight for their right in such a situation? Like, the journalist at NTA Road.
Yes. Utterances do not in themselves end by the person who make them. By the persons who make them. Now, if the police is making their statement and then they are asserting that they did not arrest him, the definition of arrest will not end with the police. This gentleman is saying, I did not consent. I did not do this voluntarily. I was harassed or intimidated or threatened, and then I was taken in their vehicle against my will. That's arrest and detention. And then they've taken him into custody and drove him to a place and forced him to call his friend, and he did, and they got there. Now, I agree with you that establishing any fact in court utterances but is support with credible and convincing evidence.
Yeah.
Wait to hear that.
Yeah.
So if this individual has any evidence with respect to, let's assume that there was torture or any way of intimidation or harassment. And again, torture here, we have expanded the definition and scope of torture beyond physical bodily injuries.
Yeah.
Even if it is psychological, even if you just cocked your rifle, there is somebody whose mind is shallow, that is palpably threatened, believing that his life is gone already by a mere cock of AK-47 by some police officer, just because you want to ask him a question, which is wrong. It is torture already. So if this individual is able to establish that the policemen, even surrounding, you see, some persons would have psychological torture by being surrounded by state agents with armed with firearms and ammunition for no justifiable reason.
Okay.
Now, like I said, why not intelligently and intelligibly get across this individual? Sometimes you may have sent a plainclothes individual to this person and get a conversation with him. Whether you drive in some form of your vehicle, you cock your gun and you stop him from moving, and of course we know that apparently this is how it happens.
All right.
Now, when the police is saying that we did not arrest him, what does it amount to? What amounts to arrest in the definition of the police? They think that arrest is only when they take a person to their station and put him in the cell.
Now, I've got to pause you because we're out of time, but we talked about arresting in proxy. Is this not a situation that is same as arresting in proxy? Because, like you said,
it amounts.
It amounts.
Like I said, the scenario will justify that. Like I said, if like that, my friend that I related, that was an arrest. They arrested him, and they arrested him so that they can get to the other person.
Okay.
So if the journalist here too was taken against his will, was put in custody against his will in their vehicle, was restricted of his liberty against his will, and was coerced, harassed, or intimidated to give certain information or lead the police to a certain person against his will, he's been arrested. And then that arrest was done so that they can get another person. There is arrest in proxy and arrest in lieu, which is prohibited both under the Police Act 2020 and then the Administration of Criminal Justice Law Act, as the case may be.
All right, let's listen to what the police commissioner in Rivers State had to say last week, Thursday. Was it Thursday or Wednesday? I cannot remember now, but he did say quite a few things, and we're going to play the soundbite, and then we're going to open the phone lines and hear from the listeners. Let's take a listen.
Respect for human rights. Under my watch, no person shall be detained unjustly. Arrested by proxy is unlawful and will not be tolerated. No person shall be arrested someone else's offense. We shall be polite and civil to the members of the public, even when enforcing the law which we are called as our core mandate. Accidental discharge is highly unacceptable. Defaulters will be charged appropriately, while the DPOs will be queried when in default. Force Order 237 will remain a subject of lecture on a weekly basis.
All right, so you had the Commissioner of Police there, Mekaonyi, and he said arresting by proxy, it's prohibited. He said some other things, but the scope of our conversation today, we would stick with arresting in proxy. If you're listening, I'd like to hear from you. Police is your friend. Do you think the police could have acted differently? Would you, as a person, be willing to lead the police to someone who is a suspect and someone you know, someone you're acquainted with, or even possibly your friend or relative? Would you be willing, to assist the police? Like we've learned on the show, it's your civic responsibility, it's your duty to. So that's the first question I want to ask, is would you be willing? And then the other one is, what best way do you think the police could have approached the journalist in asking for his assistance? What best way? I'd like to hear from you. We've got limited time. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. What best way? If you were the one in the shoes of this journalist, how would you have reacted? How would you have responded? What do you make of the police actions? By the way, the police has come out to say that they did not harass, they did not intimidate, and they did not arrest the individual. All right, once again, 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Remember, there is a call screener. I can see some of you already ending the call. You don't have to end the call. Talk with the call screener. It's so that I can know your name and I can know where you are calling from. And of course, then you'll be patched through to me. But you can also send your messages to WhatsApp 0809 030 6416. Once again, 0809 030 6416. The police is your friend. And of course, you should also remember that the police has been able to achieve quite, a bit of quite a bit in MOA, local government area, and in Auda region, both east and west. And so I'm asking the question. I mean, I'm not asking you to crucify the police, but I'm asking, do you think they could have acted differently in a better way, being your friend, being the police that is your friend? All right, I'm going to take a call now. 92.3. Hello. Okay, we seem to be having network issues now, but I'm going to take Joseph's call now.
The champion of the whole world.
Hello.
Star.
Hello. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. What's your name?
Okay. I said the account where they send money for me, the account get problem.
Right,
I made a call this line.
Sorry. You are onto the wrong station, I should say. But I've got Muriel, and she's calling from Okrika. Muriel, good evening to you.
Kalaba, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
This is Okrika woman on the line.
Welcome, Muriel.
Kalaba, absolutely, if I were in that position, I don't think I would even stand with I don't even imagine myself standing with a police to discuss, not to talk about giving them information. I've seen cases where people give police information and they endanger themselves. Look, it's not my civil responsibility to give police information.
But you've just been told what the law. You've just been told what the law says.
Look, to me, I don't know. For me,
all right,
the police actually, I think they should undercover agents or they have intelligence units. They should apply just what the standard of getting information to. Because I don't think I will stand. I will even be shaking to stand with the police. Standing with them is so intimidating. It's so scary. Not to talk of relaxing and giving them information on the phone. There's a way they can use techniques, maybe modern device, to get information whereby you cannot be traced. Maybe you will not be seen. Your phone number cannot be tracked. There is a way like that. Nigerians should be a bit comfortable, but to stand in front of a policeman or to give them information to discuss.
All right, Muriel, thank you very much. I've got a commercial break coming up next, so I'm going to get your final words, Ekine. What are your final words?
Yes, my final word would be that citizens are enjoined to be good citizens and abide and observe the provisions of the Constitution and other laws, and assist state agents where it's reasonable and legitimate. The state agents are enjoined to respect the rights of citizens, particularly the right to dignity of the human person, and then the right to liberty of the human person, and of course to ensure that they act within the laws. There shall be no arrest in proxy. Do not in any guise, whether pretense or in any form, to arrest another person so that you get another. It is the duty of the police or any arresting authority to, by any way, some intelligence or some professional training, to get at anybody you're looking for. It is not the citizen that will scout for any criminal suspect for you.
All right.
That's the position of the law.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's the much that we can take. Thank you for your time. And,
thank you for having me.
Yes. Good evening. Remember, we will continue the conversation. Stay tuned.
You